Good morning. My action research project tested three higher order thinking activities in language arts. The three higher order thinking activities that I tested were five finger retail, graphic organizers, and thinking aloud. Five finger retail means you use each of your one fingers, and each of them is a certain category as to the elements or parts of a story. A graphic organizer is a chart, and it also mentions the different parts of the story, and you answer them using written expression. Thinking aloud is when you read a story and you pause and you orally think, oh, what do I know about this topic, or what is going on in the story? The reason why I chose to perform this action research is that my students severely struggle with reading comprehension. I currently teach third grade language arts and mathematics to those students who have severe learning disabilities. Most of my students are specific learning disabled, and they also have a language processing disorder. So all of them struggle with reading as well as reading comprehension. And I could tell that they were struggling because most of the texts that we have to utilize during small group lesson are on a third grade level. So they have reading levels of first or second grade, and some even have a kindergarten reading level. My main goal was to at least have them accomplish using these higher order thinking activities for text on their reading level, just to see which one they would choose and which one they liked the most. So it was really awesome to work with these students, and I have a feeling they gained a lot of new information, and they even started using it when they took their winter diagnostic on iReady and when they are in their small group lessons with their main classroom teachers. So I pull small groups into my classroom. So 6 or 7 students are with me during the small group, and we use Leveled Literacy Intervention, or LLI. It's a reading intervention developed by Fontes and Pinnell, where you read storybooks on their grade level, so at least they can fluently read the words, because most of them know all of their sight words. So I use that with the students, and every activity, a new higher order thinking activity was introduced. So the first day we would just do pre-reading of the story and pre-reading questions and make predictions about what's going to happen in the story. The second day we read the story, and one activity was introduced that we did together. So we started with five finger retail, and we read the story, and every student got to actively participate and use five finger retail. The third day, we read the story again, and we used a graphic organizer. The graphic organizer basically was designed with the five finger retail, just in written form, because the students could remember using the five finger retail, and some of them actually used the five finger retail with their fingers, and then they proceeded to write it down because they remembered using that activity. So that was really neat, watching them participate and work together, and they really enjoyed both five finger retail and the graphic organizer. Thinking aloud was also introduced, but most of them were not a fan, because even though they do enjoy talking, if they have to use vocabulary and talk about and ask themselves questions, they struggle with forming the question, and that's in relation to their language processing, and so they rather not talk and do the graphic organizer, or say one word answers to the five finger retail. which is acceptable. Overall, the students really enjoyed working and using these higher order thinking activities. Like I said before, it was a toss between Five Finger Retail and the graphic organizer. Most students liked Five Finger Retail. I could see them using it a lot. And for those students who necessarily didn't like talking that much, but understood the story, preferred the graphic organizer. It's really ironic because most of my students love to talk. They are big talkers, but once you want them to talk about a story, they are completely silent and they'd rather write down the answer instead of orally answer it, which is very strange and kind of funny. If I could change anything about this action research, it would probably be more time. We didn't have that much time, so I had to rush to introduce the activities, and then I had to assess the students with these activities, and the text had to be on a third grade reading level, so those took a few days because most of them still struggled with reading fluently, so I still had to teach reading techniques as well as intertwine the higher order thinking activities. I also wish that I could test those students who are on a third grade reading level to see if their views would change, because my students like the Five Finger Retail and graphic organizer. If a student was possibly on a third grade reading level, they may like thinking aloud because they can create those questions and answer those questions while reading a third grade level text. Also, I would have enjoyed incorporating these higher order thinking activities in their different classes. Because I work with them in math and science, it would have been interesting to see if you could use the graphic organizer or the Five Finger Retail or potentially thinking aloud. Because when you're working out an equation, usually people or students think aloud when you're using PEMDAS or just simply multiplying. Most of my students always orally tell me what they're going to do and then they write it down. So it would have been interesting to see which method they would have used. Overall, I enjoyed this study and performing an action research study. I will definitely do it again, and I will encourage my other colleagues to do an action research project because it's only beneficial. And all teachers are trying to do is help the students. And of course, if they can change any way to help students understand information, then it's only positive. It's never negative. So maybe I'll do another action research just on the side for reading fluently, because this action research has inspired me to keep doing research, because every month during faculty meetings, all the teachers get together by grade level and we discuss new techniques and different ways to help students understand. Because the Florida Standard Assessment is coming up in April. So every teacher is trying to hunker down and think of ways to review as well as introduce new topics. So action research is only positive, and I encourage all teachers to do it eventually because it's very enlightening, actually. I found it very enlightening, and I enjoyed it. So I will probably do another one in the next few weeks, probably with reading fluency or mathematics, because my students also struggle with solving equations and answering word problems. So maybe I'll do another action research project where with word problems, which technique works the best, thinking aloud or a graphic organizer or another technique. So thank you.